Andy Hillier, and today's guitar lesson is going to be on the main theme from Hearthstone. I've done a cover version of it, so go and check it out if you want to hear it all the way through. And just before I teach you it today, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel, which is Andy Hillier, give me a like on the video, leave me some comments in the comment section, including any songs you want me to do. And if you love what I'm doing, you want to support me, keep me doing this, and then also print off the tabs for this. I'll put them on my Patreon page. I've set it as cheaply as possible. Go and check that out. I'll leave a link in the description. My guitar is in standard tuning. We've got quite a lot to get through, so it might be quite a long video. The first line sounds like this. So for that, we're going to start off with the D string and B3 at the same time. And then you'll hammer on to B6, pull off to B3, so you got... And then you go down to B1 with the first finger and second finger on D2. So you got... And then you're going to go to D3 with G2, hammer on your little finger to G5, and then pull it off back to the G2. And then it goes to the E3 with the open G string. So bar 1. Into bar 2 we play the open D string, hammer on to fret 3, then we're going to play G2, G4, pulling off to the open G, then D, D3, D2, so bar 2 goes. If we put bars 1 and 2 together, we get. Then we go all the way up to fret 10 on the E string, and you're going to hammer on to 13 and then pull off back to 10, so you get. And then B13, so you get. And then you're going to go B10, hammer on to B13, pull off to B10, and then G12. So bar 3. And then bar 4, we play D12, G10, B10, B12, and then G12. So you got. And then it jumps down to E1 and D3 at the same time. So bar 4. And then you're holding that on into the next bar, and then you're just going to play, which is E5, hammer on to E8, pull off back to E5, B8, pulling off to B5, and then G2 to finish, which is kind of part of the next phrase. Okay, so the whole line slowly, we've got. On to the next line. This is where sort of like the main melody sort of comes in. And this line sounds like this. So we're going to play bar number 6, playing the D string and the B3 at the same time. So there's on the previous line there's a G2 which goes into it, so and then we've got another G2, then we're going to hammer on from E3 to E5 up to E6, so you go 3, 5, 6, and then back to a B3, a B5, and then a G5. So we've got, and then another G2 to finish off that bar, so bar 6. Let's just put a G2 in front of that, because then it makes it sound like the song. So And then the next bar, so we've got the G2 at the end of bar 6, and then into bar 7, B3 and D, G2, same hammer on going B3, B5, B6, and then just to B5 on its own. So bar 7. And then another G2 going into bar 8, B3 and D, G2. That same hammer on again, 3, 5, 6 on the B string. And then it's going to go 5, hammer on to 6, pull off back to 5, and then pull off to 3. And then you're going to go to G5, so it's, and then G4. So that bar, it's quite tricky, it goes. And then into the next bar, which is D and G2 at the same time. Then B1, G2, G, then G2. Then there's another G2 which goes into like the next phrase. So let's play that line slowly. We've got. The next line starts the same, so the first bar's the same. And then the next bar's slightly different. We're playing the B3 with the D again, G2, same hammer on, 3, 5, 6, but then it goes up to E3, so you got another G2 at the end of that bar. And then this next bar, we play, which is D and B3, G2, then that same hammer on that we've done loads of times, 3, 5, 6, then go 5, 6, 8 on the B string, and then pull off going 6, 5, 3. So you got, so the whole bar goes. And then into the next bar, bar 13, which is D again with E5, hammer on to E8, pull off back to E5, then B8, pull off to B5, hammer on back to B8, and then it goes E5, E8, E5, B8, B5, B8. So same idea again. Into the next bar, bar 14. D string with E5, then hammer on to E8, back to E5, then B8, B5, B8, hammer on, and then at B5, G7, pulling off to G5, and then another G7. And then there's an A3 at the end, which is sort of going into the next phrase. That's quite a tricky little line. Let's just do that line slowly. We've got. Okay, so that's that line. The next line, next sort of section, we've got. So for that, remember on the previous line we had an A3, so we'll go from the A3, then starting this line we've got D3, then A3 to D3, A3 to D3, so it kind of does that 3 times. And then on the D string it goes 5, 7, 5, 3, using hammer-ons and pull-offs. And then open into the next bar, open D, hammer on to D3, pull off again to the open string, then A3, pull off to the open A, and hammer on back to fret 3. And it just does that twice in that bar. So it's. And then into the next bar, D3, A3, D3, and then on the D string you're going to go from 5, hammer to 7, pull off back to 5, pull off to 3, hammer on to the 5, and pull off to 3. So it's so that bar goes. And then the next bar, bar 18, D, hammering onto D3, pulling off to the D string. Then A3, pull off to A, A3, and then D. And ignore that G2. There is a repeat, but you only do that G2 at the end of the second line. On the end of the first line, change that G2 to an A3. So let's play the whole of that line. We're going to put an A3 before that first note though, so it goes. Okay, on to the next line. Now this is exactly the same as the A section that we've already played. So let's just quickly play through those two lines just so it all makes sense in order. And then the next line is the same as like the second line of the A section. So that's exactly the same as when we had the A section before. And then on to the next line, the C section. This changes slightly. We've got... So it starts off A string with B5, and then another A string with G2 at the same time. It feels a bit weird to play the bass notes on those. And then back to a B5, G2, and then this same hammer on that we've done millions of times, B3, B5, B6. And then you play a B5, so you've got, sorry. And then the next bar starts the same. And then it goes B3, B5, B4, B2, another B2. So bar number 29 goes. The next bar is the same as the first bar of that line, and then the next bar is the same. So it's like a 2-bar pattern. And literally, that 2-bar pattern just plays through 4 times. So the whole of this line and the next line are exactly the same thing. So let's try and play both those lines together nice and slowly. We've got... Next line. So it's just the same thing like 4 times round. And then we get the D section, which is another just 2-bar phrase which is going to repeat round 4 times. And you play A7, pull off to the open A, another A7, pull off to A, fret 8, pulling off to the A, then back to fret 7. So you got... And the next bar you just go 7, 7, 5, 7, pulling off to the open A's. So it's just 2 bars and it repeats that round 4 times. So do that round 4 times. And then at the end it's just the A section again, which is exactly the same as what we did before. So you got... I mucked up the ending there. Let me just do the last bar again. And then that's the whole song. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed that little guitar lesson. If you have, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel, which is Andy Hillier, it really does help me out. Give me a like on the video as well. The more comments, the better. Let me know where in the world you're from. It's really interesting for me to hear from you guys. What you thought of the video, what songs I should be doing next. And if you love what I'm doing and you want to support me, keep me doing these videos. I've got a Patreon page where I put the tabs for loads of songs on there. I'll put the tabs for this on there so you can print them out. I've said it as cheaply as possible, but it really does help support me, keep me going. Thanks for watching this. I've been Andy Hillier, and I'll see you next time.